Hello, I'm Rick Stivers with YoungMartin'sReels. Today's project is going to be this Sougayilang, that's this Sougayilang bait casting reel. And be honest with you, I actually had my hands on this reel back in December of this year, and I wasn't real crazy about it. I took it apart and serviced it for Mario, and I don't like it. If you listen real closely, it's got kind of a gear grind. It's the new reel, and I was hoping I could quiet it down by lubricating it, and I was unsuccessful. It's got square cut straight gears, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're not quiet like a lot of the reels are, and so I wasn't real crazy about it. But Mario, like I said, I did go in and service this. Well, a few months after I serviced it, it actually malfunctioned, and what's happened is, if you look, your anti-reverse is not holding. And I told Mario I'd take a look at it and see if I could figure out what's going on with that, because that's not right. And he had retired the reel because of that. And I told him I'd take a look at it and see if we could get it up and running again. And so that's what we're going to do today. So here we go. Let's see if we can find out what's wrong with this reel and to get it back working again. We're going to start off by taking off the end cap here, and then we'll take off the nut holding the handle in place, and then we'll remove the handle. Then we've got the tensioner, and the star adjuster for the drag. And now all those parts are pretty good quality parts. They fit real nice. They're smooth. I didn't have a problem with those. It's only the gears that I seem to have a problem with. Okay, so there's a straight washer, and then there should be, if I remember correctly, this. See, there's a keyed washer and a straight washer. The keyed washer goes on second. And the straight washer fits under that. All right, and I think we're ready to take these 5 screws out. I believe these are bigger. All right, that's got the screws out. Let's remove the side plate and see what we find. Okay. Okay. Okay, could be that simple. No, that's got to be adjustable. Okay. Okay, now I'd like for all of this gear assembly to stay in place while I take this out and look at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take off this E-clip, like so. So that hopefully I can move the plate straight up. I don't know if I can without taking out the gear. Yeah, I was hoping I could, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. It's going to stay with it. Okay. All right. Well, now comes the assembly. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Oh, that should come right off of there. All right, well, out comes everything. Okay. I don't understand why that won't come off. Okay. And have reverse gear. Sits right here. It drops in right there into that post. Like so. There must be a burr on that. There. I will clean that burr off. That kept me from being able to see. Okay. All right, there's one click post here. There's not a click post on the other side. You'd think there'd be two of those. But that's what is designed to kick this back. Okay. Okay, this post fits into there and not pop out. Let's drop this back in now that that post is off of there. Okay, go ahead and pull this back so it will ride like it should. Straighten out the pinion gear. drop back into place. Okay. All right, so with that held in place, well, that's not good. All right, well, that shouldn't fit all loose like that. Okay, so let's try taking this apart and see what it's going to take to put it back together. All right, straight washer goes on, bearing goes on. That bearing, now that's not what's going to hold that in place. What's going to hold it in place is going to be this piece right here. All right, so what I need to do is clean up the end of this before I put it in. All right, I cleaned up the end of this a little bit with a piece of sandpaper. Just, polished it up a little bit so that it would fit going through here like so. All right, so you're not having to fight it. And we'll see where we can go from there. Let's see if we can get this back together now. I'm going to go ahead and put this E-clip back on this right here. And I think we're going to build this up and see if we can get it all to go back together tightly so that it will all fit back in there, and hopefully that anti-reverse will start working again. Let's go ahead and drop out this bushing. There's our gears. Let's set this back in. Like I said, this is not one of my favorite reels of all time by any means. All right, all that fits on there like so. Then it's going to go this flat washer and then this bearing. Now there's no anti-reverse bearing there, so yeah, it only leaves us to put all this together. Let's tell you what, let's do. I'm going to put some grease on the shaft here so that hopefully it can hold this bearing in place while we do this install. Okay, so on goes the washer. You know what? or back up. Take all this apart. There's no reason not to go ahead and show you how all of this goes together. Although, I'm figuring this one out as I go along. Okay, this is in, and I'm afraid, see that little bit of play right there? That little bit of play maybe, yeah, let's zoom in for just a second. Okay, see that little bit of play right there? I have a feeling that may be that little bit that's allowing that anti-reverse gear to slip past. Okay, so what I would like to do is find a little bitty super thin washer to put under there that would hold that in tighter. But I don't have such a critter. So I'm afraid that's what's going on. I think what we've got is some wear right there. And it turns inside that bushing. See, the bushing really should be sitting solid in there without turning. This should be turning inside the bushing, and it's not. See with that little bit of play right there? Yeah, I think that may be what's causing the anti-reverse not to work. And if that's the case, I might have to go back and see if I can figure out a way to get a super, super thin shim put on that. I mean, it's not much. It's maybe 5/1000ths of end play, but that could be enough to cause enough wobble to allow that gear to slip past the gears. Because if you look right here, those teeth, they're not super, super well defined, and they are kind of rounded on the edges where the anti-reverse fits in there. So anyway, that's how that fits. I'm going to zoom back out now. All right. Okay, the way this stack up goes on this gear, okay, we have the gear, and it goes on. Now on this bad boy, we only have the one drag washer. That's it. One big, thick, oh, wait a minute. There might be three here. Yep. Okay, so there's a metal washer inside. And then, okay, so we have a drag washer, a keyed washer. See the flat keyway there? All right, so the keyed washer. Then another drag washer. And the eared washer. Got these little ears on it. It's got to come down and go into those slots right there on the gear. All right. On top of that, it's going to go another drag washer. And then this thick washer. It's keyed also. So that keyed washer goes in. Then goes this spacer. And then there goes this steel washer. And then followed up by this bearing, which I'm going to grease the shaft to hold the bearing in place. Kind of like act as a glue. And all of this was oiled and serviced a few months back. Okay. So if I remember correctly, I believe that this is going to go in here. We're going to move this out of the way for the moment. Matter of fact, let's just lift it out and off. There we go. Set it over here. Okay, now we've got this gear assembly, which is going to drop in this way, like that. Okay. And now we've got the anti-reverse, which is going to go in with this post right here, like so. Okay, and that's going to drop into this hole right there. And I might have to put it in first. Kind of looks that way, and no, none of that will work. None of that will hold in place. So I was hoping it would, but the grease wasn't. It's a heavy bearing. Okay, so this is going to drop in here like so. We're not going to put the spring on yet. We're going to, it can't go in first. It's got to stay out until that is in. All right, so let's try it again. Slide that in. And I'm going to have to use set the anti-reverse into place. Like so. And behind here. And then this pin goes in and holds it in place. In that hole. Right there. Okay, and I'm not going to put the spring back on yet. We're going to keep that off for the moment. All right. And once this rotates around, it ain't right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, because there's the hole right there that holds the pin. It just has to rotate further around than I was anticipating. Okay, now we got to get that. I don't know how well you can see it. The anti-reverse there has to fit onto this pin. And it has. Now it's not clicking because the spring's not engaged. Okay, and that all looks fine. So let's go ahead and put in, there we go, that's locked into place. And that should keep that anti-reverse on the pin. There it is. But see, it allows this little bit of motion on this thing. It's going to allow that to move up and down. And that's keeping that anti-reverse from really catching good on that gear. So let's see what we can do. Let's go ahead and put 2 screws in. See if there's any adjustment or anything else I can make that might make this all fit better. I still don't think that's going to work. I think I'm going to have to put a slight bend in that anti-reverse gear, or pawl, to make it hold. All right. Okay. Let's see if we can get hooked on the spring. Okay. Yeah, if you look at the anti-reverse pawl, you'll see that it's not lining up directly onto the gear. And so when you put any kind of real back pressure on that, see there, the gear's slipping out and past it. So I think that if we add a little bend to the anti-reverse pawl, but see, there's also, see how that gear moves out? That's when it's slipping. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and take this back apart and see if adding a slight bend to the pawl will keep it over there where it belongs instead of allowing it to pop past. Okay, there we go. And this is obviously not a hardened pawl. This is a mild steel part. And we're going to set this back down in there. Like so. Okay. We're going to put this pin back in. Like so. All right. We're going to make sure that this spring is over here out of the way so I can hook it easily when this time. And then we're going to pull this back over as far this way as I can get it. And then rotate this around. And let's get it locked back into place. Like so. Okay, now the anti-reverse pawl is way over there. All right, I think that's going to work, but let's go ahead and put screws back in it and find out what we have. Now, let's go ahead and hook that spring again. Hook it back on the post, like so. And let's see what we have. Okay, it's holding. I would like to see it bent a little further over. It's still trying to slip past. If you look, that pawl still has a lot of ability to move back and forth. And what we want to do is take out its ability to do so. We want it to be kind of Well, there's a gap down there, so we don't want to go too far or we slip into the inside. So I may have to call that good, because it will not slip past, I don't think, now. Okay, we're going to have to call that good. If we go any further, it could start slipping off to the inside. So you just needed a minor alignment to bring it into the center of the pawl. And hopefully, and I don't know it, but I'm hoping that I can put this yoke assembly back in with this bridge in. So we're going to find out here in just a minute. Okay, our 2 springs stayed in place, and that's good. Okay, so we're going to set our pinion gear down into here, and this straight set here. See that cut? That's going to match up to the spool, so that has to go to the inside. Oh, sorry. It has to go to this inside, so it's going to go this way. Here we go. Okay, it's going to sit there. Okay, I'll hold that down with my finger for the moment, and we're going to look and see. Here we go. Yep, this is going to go right in that way. Okay, and you got to get that on that post right there. There we go. That's locked into that post, and now we're going to put that screw back in. And this is almost a 3-handed job, holding it in place while the screw's going in. Okay. Now, let's put this bearing back in one more time. Remember that straight washer goes under the bearing, and another one's going to go on top of the bearing over here. And I don't think that bearing's all the way down. And it's just, okay, anti-reverse is working. Let's go ahead and put this keyed washer on top. What that keyed washer does is it keeps the shaft from turning when we've put this drag on. Okay. That's a big beefy drag. I like that part of the reel. Okay. Next goes the tension washer, like so. There we go. Then goes the handle and the nut. I'll go ahead and tighten that up. Okay, Mario. We've got that back and running again. What I'm going to do, though, just to see if I can quiet those gears down just a little bit, I'm going to see if I can add some grease up in here. All right. Now I'm going to pop this out for a second, and we're going to add a drop of oil to the end over here, into the bearing. That's what I say. It actually has bearings instead of bushings. It's a pretty nice little reel. The gears just aren't as refined as a lot of reels are, and it just keeps me from falling in love with the reel. Okay. All right, keep that line in there. Now we put this back. Okay. this back in. Let's go ahead and add us a drop of oil in the end cap here. And see here that, now I know most of that's anti-reverse. There's no tension on the gears yet, so we'll be hearing those in a little bit. Okay, slide this back together. And get it lined up, there we go. And put the screws back in. Okay, the anti-reverse is working. Let's go ahead and put our nut cap back on. And apparently the hole isn't quite lined up, so I need to adjust it just a hair. Okay. And there we have the Sougayilang TSSD 3000L. Mario, this little beast is ready to go back out and go red fishing again. And see if I can get your line run back through the way you had it. And I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit the like button. If you didn't, that's okay. Hit the dislike button. Tell me what it is about it you didn't like. And uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, it's just not a well-refined reel. It just, everything about it is a little bit clunky. Parts fit loosely together instead of cleanly together. And I like their little spinning reel. It's worked well. But so far, this reel I'm not a big fan of. Let's see about the drag. Okay. Yep, got good drag. Okay. For now, that's Rick Stivers of Young Martin's Reels, signing out.